Page 15, Tractate עירובין, איתמר. לחי העומד מאליו, אביי אמר הווה לחי, רבא אמר לא הווה לחי. You look at the picture, you see it? You have here the Reshut Rabim, the public domain. You have here the Mavoi, the alleyway, two developments. The only problem here is Rashi said, Shelo ukva sham leshem tikun mavoi, which means you see this pole, it can be, for example, the development people, the developer that built this, he made it for beauty, like in Florida. Mm-hmm. Or somebody put it on the side just as a sign on the road or something. It looks like a fake tree here. So since this, it wasn't designated to be a post, it was just for decoration or other purposes. Therefore, if it's omed me'elav, if it's by himself, Abaye said, anyway, since it's a side post, it should be a lechi. And Rava said, it's not considering a post. Now, what's the implication? So Rashi said, Ha'omed me'elav shelo hukva sham leshem tikun ma'ivoi delo izminu lekach, which means that it wasn't designated for the purpose of the alleyway. So Abaye said you can carry there, and Rava said you cannot carry there since it wasn't designated for that purpose. So now the Gemara elaborate on that, and they said as follows: Heicha de lo samchinan alei me'etmol, meaning, as you know, how do you prepare a mavoi, a proper kosher mavoi? So you have the Friday usually, right, before Shabbat, you set up something such as a post, crossbeam, or something that it's for the purpose of Shabbat. Now, it turns that sometimes during Shabbat, the post that you put aside, like the lechi, just somehow fall. Can be by the wind, can be somebody did it on purpose, or whatever it is, it's down. So here is the problem. It says, Heicha de lo samchinan ele me'etmol. When is a situation that it wasn't designated in advance, which means sometimes they put a post, and that post was especially for Shabbat. So it means if they put another one here, they figured out that this will be a backup before Shabbat. So in other words, they put a one, and in case it's a fall, right? So it used this as a backup. So if that was made in advance before Shabbat, Kule alma lo plige, both Abaye and Rava hold lo have lechi. Why? Because you didn't designate it before Shabbat. So the fact that the other posts fell on the ground, this has nothing to do with that one. That one wasn't backup lechi. Okay? Ki plige, when is the machloket between Abaye and Rava? Heicha de samchinan alei me'etmol. What does that mean, samchinan alei me'etmol? No?
We rely on it from the past.
We rely on it from the past, which means when it was Friday before Shabbat, let's say that David and Gil, right, and Elliot get together on Friday, and they said, oh, look, we have this, so let's make this as a backup, and we're going to put another one. Mm-hmm. So, if you guys did it in advance, you're planning in advance that this will serve as a lechi, backup lechi. That's a different story. Why? Abaye amar avelechi. Okay? Abaye said that that's considering a lechi, because it was pre-planned in advance, it was set up in advance to have a backup. The has samchinan alei metmol. Clear? Now, he said, Rava amar lo avelechi. Rava said that you cannot depend on this. Why? Kevan de meikara lav adaatei dehache avidei. Since originally he did not set up this to do what? To prepare the alleyway. Lo have lechi. Because it was not set up. So now the Gemara elaborate on that. In order to do that, we bring another scenario and we try to juxtapose. Kasal kadatach ki heicha deflige beilechi. You may say the same way as Abaye and Rava disputed over lechi, plige name bimchitza. They also have the same thing in petition, which means if you have a petition that it was not prepared in advance to serve as a petition only for other purposes, so according to Abaye, that petition is fine, and according to Rava is not. And in order to bring a proof to that, to bring something in the sukkah. What is the sukkah? Tashma. Ha'oseh sukkato ben ha'ilanot והאילנות דפנות לה כשרה. If someone make a sukkah among the trees and the trees serves as its wall, they said it's fine, it's valid. Why? Because even those trees was not designated. When you planted those trees, when you have those trees, it's not for that purpose, that to be a petition, right? Those trees, they have that there's trees. You go to a forest and you take a group of trees and you wrap it and you make it like 2 or 3 walls, and then you, if there's 2 walls, you add another one, and then you make this entrance and make it sukkah, right? So even those trees was not in advance to be a petition, even then the Mishnah allows us to use it. So it's a proof to what Abaye said, that he said that this lechi can be fine, and a contradiction to what Rava said, that Rava said that it's not a lechi. So Gemara rejected that, and he said, Hacha v'maya askinan, here what we're talking about, shenit'an mitchila lekach, which means, no, when a person did it, he planted in advance those trees to be a petition for the sukkah. So therefore Rava even allow to use them as a petition. So the Gemara said, Yache pshita. If that's the case, it's obvious, right? So that for sure you can use it as a wall for the sukkah. So what's the Mishnah wants to tell us by that? So the Gemara said, Ma'u de teima. You may say, Ligzor dilma ate leishtamushe ba'ilad. So since those trees are invalid to serve as the wall for the sukkah, why? Because he may start using those trees, and do you remember what we said? That the person can go up in a tree and cut some branches during the holidays. So he put this decree. It's because the sages said, on Shabbat and on Yom Tov, on a festival, a person cannot go climb on a tree to put something or to rely on that, because it's called tolesh. He may cut some branches or something from the trees, and it's called kotzer. So the same apply here in the sukkah. You thought. So Kamash Melan, they come to tell us no. To teach us that no such a decree was made. And the sukkah you can use in that circumstance with those trees. Another proof, Tashma. היה שם אילנו גדר וחיצת הקנים, נגדון משום דיומד. Look at this picture. Rashi said, עמוד אחד נראה כשניים, ד' יומדים בד' הפאות, יש לכל אחד מחיצה שתי אמות, עומד, אמה מכאן ואמה מכאן. Everyone see it? Mm-hmm. This is the well. This is the tree. This is the petition. This is the Yumad, and this is the Yumad. So you see, basically the sages are lenient to, if you remember when we talk about the cows and the taking from the well, the water, remember that? So in general, here we also talk when they have a pilgrims, they have olei regalim. People come to the Beit HaMikdash. They need to use water. So they said they can use, the sages are lenient to allow them to use a well of water when they need, even sometimes it's considering carrying from one domain to another, from private to public domain. So they said they put mechitzot diumad, they put a petition diumad, and that's the way you can do it. Rashi, here you have a picture in a Rashi. Rashi said, יש לכל מחיצה שתי אמות, עומד מכאן אמה, מכאן ואמה מכאן. So Rashi showed the picture, how it goes, the four corners and a circle in between. I hope that everyone have this Gemara with Rashi. So Ahacha v'Mayaskin, and the Gemara rejected that, and they said, no, here we talk about Asa'ad mitchila lekach. He planted those trees for what? He planted those trees for that purpose, to be a petition. Yachei mai kamash melan. If that's the case, what does want to tell us that it's considering a petition? Kamash melan, חיצת הקנים, קנה פחות משלושה טפחים, כי דבעה מיני אביי ורבא. That the barriers of the reeds, you can use it as a petition. If the distance between the one reed and the other reed is less than 3 handbreadths, so that's the way that Abaye was talking with the Rabbah, and they want to tell us that it's okay, you can use it. Tashma, we now bring another proof. Ilan hamasech al haaretz. אם אין נופו מן הארץ 3 טפחים מטלטלים מתחתיו. So again, let's use this picture. Let's say you have the trees, and what happened to the tree? The tree is branches hang over from height greater than 10 tfachim, highest than 10 handbreadth. Okay, so they said if the head of the trees it's go above the ground in 3 handbreadth, so you can carry. Why? Because the branches, it's considering mechitzot, it's considering petition. So basically what we learn from that's a proof to what Abaye said. Abaye said that you can use that as a petition and not to the rabbah, because what happened is the head of the trees, it's 3 handbreadth from the ground. So what we said, we talk about goat. You remember that the goat can come in, but this one, it's good enough. It's because the goat would not go so small if it's below than 3 handbreadth. So they rejected that. Said hachanabe b'ma'askinan שנטעו מתחילה לכך. You know why this guy planted this tree? He want to have shade in that area. So why? Because there are people who he hired to be the guard for his field. It turns sometimes when you own a large property, you need to have people that they are watchmen, that they are watching over the. So these people like to sit, especially in the hot summer, under the shade area. So therefore, Rava agreed that those branches of the trees, it's considering a proper partition. If you tell me that the purpose of the tree was for that, so you can go all the area. Alama maravuna breder Rav Yoshua malteltelim bo ela beit sa'atayim. Why he said that one may only carry it under the trees if its branches enclosed the area larger than 2 beit sa'atayim, which is about 5,000 cubits. Because if he planted in advance that this tree is going to be some type of housing for people, why we limit it that it's going to allow to carry only to a beit time and nothing more? Why? Because if you think about it, the way that he did it, it's shtiva erev, which means either he made it leshem dira, for the purpose of housing. So it's not a kef mushlam, it's not the way that he put together fully. So the Gemara said, mishum dehave dira shetashmisha le'avir. The guards is not living there. They just there because it's convenience for them. Why? Because they have to be around that field, and they need to have a place for the hot sun, or a place that to watch from thieves. So they need a place like that. So v'chol dira shetashmisha la'avir, in other words, all those housing that the purpose is just you need the airspace around it, en metaltelim ba ela mi beit sa'atayim. You to carry it only in the area that is no larger than 2 beit sa'atayim. So in other words, it's not the shimush chitzoni, it's not for other purposes. Tashma, now we'll bring another source. You know that how long we're allowed to walk on Shabbat? 2,000 amah, right? So all of a sudden someone, let's say in those days, was riding a donkey. Nowadays, let's say he was driving his car. He's in a desert or in an open field. All of a sudden, he's stuck. And he is stuck in a place that what they have around him, it's called tel שהוא גבוה 10. תשמע שבת בתל שהוא גבוה 10. That it was a 10 handbreadth high mound. So it's like a small mountain. And והוא מארבע אמות ועד בצעתיים. So you remember when we talk about good artsy, we hold that it's like have a circle, mukaf mechitzot, that you have a circle of petition of 10 tfachim. So therefore, he can use that part. וכן בנקע, שהוא עמוק 10 טפחים. And also it's applied to a neka, to a cavity of a rock that is 10 handbreadth deep, and its area was anywhere from 400 ועד בית סעתיים, from 4 cubits to בית סעתיים, וכמה קצורה ושיבולות מקיפות אותה, and reaped grain, and rose established his Shabbat, abode in the field in a stalk, the stalks of a handbreadth high have not been reaped, surrendered it. So it means that you have 10 handbreadths in every side. So all of those scenarios that we talked, mehalech et kula, he can go for the entire field, vechutz ala 2,000 ama, in that area and out of that area up to 2,000 ama. Why? Because remember, anyone who dwell in a place that they have petition, that spot, it's considering arba motav, is that his own dwelling place. So, in other words, from that arba amot, you can count 2,000 ama. So, which means this small mount, it's called mechitza omedet me'alea. It's petition that stands independently by itself. So here you see a proof that there is a concept that the mechitza by itself. You don't prepare it in advance. And you remember all the sources we brought earlier that you need to prepare it in advance for that purpose. That's basically contradicted that. V'chi teima, if you tell me hachanami she'asa mitchila lekach, that here is also talking about situation that he made it in advance for that purpose. Bishlama kama lechaye, if you tell me that it's for a case of grain, so he said fine, lechaye. But elatel veneka ma'ika lemeima. So in other words, he cut this part for a purpose. What is his purpose? His purpose was to leave the stock outside, that it will make it as a petition. So if he did that, that's fine. But tel veneka, mound and cavity, so how you explain it? So it wasn't made by itself. It's called sheka ba'adama. How do you say it? Sheka ba'adama שכבר היה מימות עולם, right? How do you say it? It's like hole in the ground, right? That was there much earlier. It wasn't, he doesn't designate and prepare it in advance for the purpose of petition. Ela, you must say, במחיצות כולי עלמא לא פליגי דהביה מחיצה. If it's a petition, everyone agrees that it's fine, which means the petition that stands by itself, it's considered fine. Why? Because if they have the heights of 10 handbreadth, it's considering a petition. The only thing, ki pligei belechi. What's the contradiction? What's the disputation? It's in a case of doorposts. Abaye said that, you remember we saw the tree that was for the decoration at the beginning of the lesson? So Abaye hold that this lechi omed me'elav, this post that stands by itself, so it's fine. The amar lechi mishum mechitza. The purpose of that post is to basically close the alleyway. ומחיצה העשויה מאליה הביה מחיצה, and a petition that stands by itself, it's considering a petition. ורבא לטעמי, how about Rabba that said that it's not fine, it's not kosher, you cannot use it? דאמר לכי משום הקר, he said that this post is in order to make it conspicuous marker, to make it very visible. אי אבידה בידיים הווה יקר, והיא לא הווה יקר. He said, people who put it, they put it for themselves and maybe for other people. So the goal is they prepare it in their hands in advance to make it conspicuous area, to make it clear that it's visible, that it's a space that makes sure that it's okay to carry. They did it in advance. So if they do it that way, it's really considering a conspicuous matter and it's clear and you can use it. But if it stands by itself and no one prepared it in advance, then you cannot use it. Tashma. Now we try to prove what Abaye said. What Abaye said, that lechi, that the post stand by itself, it's considering a post that you can use it for the Eruv, right? So he said, Tashma, avnei gader hayotzot min hagader, אם מובדלות זו מזו פחות משלושה, אין צריך לחי אחר. שלושה צריך לחי אחר. Everyone, please look at the picture. You see these stones. This is again public domain. This is the alleyway. It's closed. You have two development in both sides. Everyone see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now in this partition, you see this little hole here. It's below than 3 hand breadth. So he said, if this is below than 3 hand breadth, what happened here? You don't need to have another post. That's sufficient signal. But he said, if they have more than 3, you need another one. You remember when we talk about lavud? Lavud has to be 3 hand breadth.
Yes.
So because we use these avnei gader, these stones, to be a petition, so therefore since we use it in petition, so that's a proof to what Abaye said, that if you have a post that is stand by itself, it's considering fine, it's considering a post. Why? Because it wasn't designated even in advance for that, but it's still fine. Hachenami shebna'an mitchila lekach. That here we talk about a builder. Let's say this builder is very religious, or he wants to serve these religious customers. So he built this, you see it? He built this for a purpose of make it available to carry on Shabbat. He knows the people who live in the development. So what did he do? Instead of putting at the post, he put this decoration here or whatever, and that's make it available, accessible to people to carry.
Wow.
So in other words, the builder was made it in such a way. Yache pshita. If everyone knows that that's the signal, so what's the, so for sure this post is fine, this lechi is kasher. Ma'u deteima lemeisar binyana udavida. You may say, no, originally speaking, he built it, alright, because originally planned, the architect, you know in architectural engineering, right? Original plan was to have it part of another development or another building. And then the plan changed and you need to break it and need to put a sidewalk, the city come or all kind of reasons. And now, by force of circumstance, they make a designation in such a way. So, because originally you want to attach these fans to another building, so therefore you may say that, therefore it makes it invalid to use it as a post. Kamash Melan, they come to tell us, no, that as long as it is conspicuous matter, you can use it as a post. Tashma, the Tane Rabbi Chia, כותל שצידו אחד כנוס מחברו. If you have a wall that one side in which is more recessed than the other. So he said, which means that one side is shorter than the other. בין שנראה מבחוץ ושווה מבפנים. If it's a result, you can see the post from outside of the alleyway, okay? But it's even from inside. ובין שנראה מבפנים ושווה מבחוץ. Or it's very clear, visible from inside, and the wall looks even more then outside, nidon mishum lechi, you hold it as a side post and it's kasher. So it means that since the Braita validate even part of the wall, even that part of the wall was not built for the purpose of the side post, so what we see so far, that's a proof to what Abaye said. Because what did Abaye say? Abaye tells us that even we have, remember that's decoration of the tree on the side? Mm-hmm. He says even that one, it wasn't designated for post. Now you use it for post, it's fine. So they said no, they rejected. They said, Hachaname she'asao mitkila lekach. No, he made that, the builder made that on that purpose, to use it as a side post. Yachemai kamashmala. You tell me that it's not kosher? That was the designation in advance. Hakamashmelan nir'e mibachutz v'shaveh mibefnim nidon mishum lechi. If the lechi is visible from outside and looks even with the wall from the inside, it's considered as side post, and therefore, if you remember in page 9, we discussed that. Tashma, we bring a proof to what Abaye said. The Rav Hava Yativ Be'u Mevoah. Rav used to sit in some alleyway during Shabbat. Hava Yativ Rav Huna Kamei. Rav Huna came and sat before him. Amar leShamai Zil Aiti leikuza demaya. He said to his attendants, go and bring me a jar, a pitcher of water. Adeata naflo lechia. Oi, he sent his shamis, his assistant, to bring a pitcher of water. When the shamis come back, all of a sudden the post fell from to the ground. So now what do you do? It says ach velei beyade. So what happened is he signaled to him with his hand that he should stop. Kama duchtei. So the shamash stand in his place, he couldn't carry it. Amar le Ravuna said to Rav, lo savar amar lismoch adikla. So you can depend on that palm tree that's standing on the side of the wall. Why you forbade to carry that alleyway? Amar, Rav said, damei hai merabanan keman de lo parshein sheishmata. This rabbi, this Ravuna, looks like someone who never explained this halacha. Even these basic things he doesn't know. Mi samchinan al ze alei me'etmol. We depend on this palm tree from in advance, a day before, meaning before Shabbat. Because it's obvious that if you not depend on that selechi before Shabbat, it's not considering a kosher post. So the Gemara said, Tama de lo samchinan alei. Ha samchinan avei lechi. The reason that Rav said that this palm tree is not because we did not count on that before Shabbat. But if we count that before Shabbat, so for sure you can use it as a lechi. Even this palm tree you didn't designate in advance for lechi. So you see here clearly that halacha is according to Abaye that you can use it. So the Gemara go and say, Leima Abaye v'derava b'delo samchinan alei pligei. Maybe Abaye and Rava disagree only in a case where they did not rely on it before Shabbat. But but in case where they did not rely on it, all agree that it's valid as a side post. So the Gemara said it's not like Abaye. Lo sakaratarda ubar kadava berechavu. It was a balcony in the house of famous Bar Bechavu. They use it in other places. Which means that it was a supported by other pillow a pillar, but other pillar that was stand in the other side, the other place of the other alleyway. The havu pliga ba Abaye v'Rava kulei shnehu. All their life, Abaye and Rava disagree. Abaye said it's fine, Rava said no, which means that they disagree with in regards to lechi that will depend on before Shabbat. So you see here that even according to Rabbi, if we prepare in advance some post before Shabbat, so it's fine and it's matched what Abaye said. By the way, halacha is according to Abaye, we're not there yet. But basically halacha that if you have a lechi that you designate before Shabbat as a backup post, you can use it. But if not, there is a problem. Now here is a new scenario in the Mishnah. Public domain, and you have this sweet young horse. He tied this horse in a corner, and you want to use this horse as a lechi, as a side post, to tell people that they can carry on Shabbat. Is that okay or not?
No.
How do you know? Let's see what the Mishnah said. The Mishnah said, Bakol osin lechayim, one may construct side post from anything, afilu bedavar sheyesh bo ruach hayim, even with the living creatures. Rabbi Meir oser. Rabbi Meir said you cannot use it. You cannot use that as a side post. Umetame mishum golel, which means it's another halacha that it said that if you make it as a cover of the grave, so it can carry a ritual impurity. So now the Gemara explains. The Gemara explain, later you see the reason for that. But just turn the page, 15b. Rabbi Meir metaher. Rabbi Meir allowed, because he said earlier, if you remember, that any petition that was made out of a living creature, it's not considering a petition. So therefore, the golal, meaning something that you cover the corpse, it's not something that you can use. V'chodvim alav gitei nashim. If someone need to write a divorce, bill of divorce, so you can write on that. V'Rabbi Yossi Glali posel. Imagine a guy, he used the back of the horse to write a bill of divorce. Right? So, according to Tanakama, you can do it. According to Rabbi Yossi Glili, you cannot use a bill of divorce written on a living creature. Tanya. We learn in the Braita, Rabbi Meir Omer, כל דבר שיש בו רוח חיים אין עושים אותו לא דופן לסוכה ולא לחי לפתח למבוי ולא פסים לביראות ולא גולה לקבר. Okay, so let's go one by one. He said anything that it's a living creature, you don't use it neither for a wall of this for the sukkah. A living creature, you make it like you have two walls, and now you need the third wall. You take your donkey, you said, okay, here is the third wall for the sukkah. He says you can't do it. Nor a side post for alleyway. Okay, we just said it. nor as one of the upright board surround the well. We remember what we talk about the well, that it's considered the line, the pasim, pasei biraot. So it said also velo golal lekever. So Rashi said here, klomar im asao golal, en shem golal chal alav letameh. Rashi said here that something very interesting. Do you remember we said that when Rashi used the word klomar, he meant something. It's not in vain. So in my book, you know that your dad wrote this book? So in my book, Biura Klomar Berashi El Hashas, I elaborate on this Rashi. Rashi said here the word klomar. Let me just share with you some point I wrote in this book, and whoever have the copy can see it directly. The big question that I think Rashi have here is how exactly you make something like that is invalidate for cover of a dead body. If you talk about sukkah, you take a living animal and you make it a wall, okay, I understand. If you talk about the side post of the alleyway, I understand. But when you talk about burial of a dead person, so what this has to do with all of that? So Rashi used the word klomar, I think, to tell us as follows, that when there is a special dinim, when we're dealing with tum'ah and ta'ara, a special din that is called golal, that it means that they have a designation of a cover. It has to be covered in a certain way. And like we learn in the Tractate Shabbat, if you remember the disputation between Rashi and Tosfot, what is exactly golal? So therefore, Rashi hold that golal, it means that it's a cover for a dead body. And Rabbeinu Tam hold that it's like the monument, matzeva, on the top of the ark. So Rabbeinu Tam asks few questions. One of them is, do you take a living creature and make it cover for a dead body? And if you remember, we have a discussion, it was Tractate Shabbat, page 152. So, and it's also, we have a discussion over that in Tractate Brachot, page 19b. Both places we have discussion over this manner of covering for dead body. So, the bottom line is, Rashi tried to say, and that's the reason why I use klomar, you want to say that don't think in a sense of physical cover of a dead body in the cemetery. That's not. He just want to give us the foundation that when you're dealing with living creatures, they not carry any impurity. In a case, usually what happened, you have a dead body and it's contaminated and it's carried a law of impurity, especially a dead body of human, right? But if you have a living animal, so you may think that it's transmitted toward the living animal. So that's the point. Rashi used the word klomar to emphasize that it's very unlikely to use this as a something that it's real applicable, and therefore it's using it just as in a way allegorical or anthropomorphic way, just a some type of our language to express a different use of living creatures for different purposes. But for sure it's not something that relates to a physical halacha. So that's what I think the reason that Rashi used the word klomar, and again I encourage you to read it in my book. So anyway, back to our subject. משום רבי יוסי הגלילי אמרו, אף אין כותבין עליו גיטי נשים. You remember what we said earlier, the bill of divorce? That this wise guy, what he tried to do, he tried to take this animal and write on the back of the animal the bill of divorce. So he said he can't. My Talmud Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Why? What's the big deal? The guy, like to write the bill of divorce on the back of the animal. So, the Tanya. So now we're dealing with what the Torah said. The Torah tells us that if Mr. Reuven come and wants to divorce Rachel, okay, so he needs to do, the Torah used the word sefer. What is a sefer? Sefer is like a document, like something that's made out of parchment, and something that is clear. The Torah said, "V'chatav la sefer kritut v'natan beyada." The Torah said in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 24, that he needs to write a bill of discontinuing of the covenant, bill of divorce, and give it to her hand. So what is in usual Hebrew language, what do you use the word sefer? Sefer is like a document, like a scroll, like something that you use in a make out of parchment. They said in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 36, that one of the prophet, Baruch ben Neriah, he was a student of Jeremiah. So before he attended this ministry, he wrote the prophecy that he heard from Jeremiah, that was at that time in jail, and he used the word scroll. So therefore we say that the bill of divorce has to be a respected scroll, written in the scroll. Ein li ela sefer. This has to be a book, a scroll, that's make it valid to make it as a bill of divorce. Minayin lerabot kol davar. How do you know that a person can use other, like a regular piece of paper or other document as a divorce? Talmud lomar vechatav la. That he needs to write for that purpose. La. Mikol makom. Because the Torah didn't say venatan beyada sefer kritu, that he gave to her the bill of divorce. So because the Torah used the word vechatav la and he inscribed for her, it has to be written on a specific parchment document. Im ken ma Talmud lomar sefer. So why the Torah used the word sefer? What is a sefer in a simple way in Hebrew? Book.
Book.
Right? Book. So we understand in the ancient time it means before the printed era, before 1484 in Guttensburg when they start printing, right? Before that era. So it's all made out of parchment and nothing else, right? Lomar lecha, to tell you, ma sefer davar she'ein bo ruach haim, the same way as a scroll is not something that is a living like living creature, right? Ve'ino ochel, that is not someone that eat, right? Af kol davar she'en bo ruach haim ve'ino ochel. The same manner as is anything that it's not a living creature, not eat. So you can write the bill of divorce. So therefore, if you take the horse and you write on the back of the horse, so Rabbi Yossi said, that's make it invalid. Okay? Now, according to Rabbanan, miktiv basefer, did the Torah say that he writes the bill of divorce in a book? It's written sefer. Ktiv lisfirut dvarim be'alma hu de'ata. Maybe just the Torah want to, when you use the word sefer, can be several things. Can be either shtar. What is a shtar? Shtar is like document, okay? Some type of document. You write a contract between two parties. You write a document between them. That's one way. Or you can use the shtar also as a scroll. You write a scroll between them. Again, document. Or it's just language of talking. we are describing here Mr. Reuben that's going to divorce his wife Rachel, and therefore he should write for her a bill of divorce. It's not that the Torah meant a specific, something very particular that has to be parchment written, etc., etc. So how do you know? So then it may be that he can write on the back of his camel or in his horse, right? So now he said, "V'Rabbanan hay v'chatav la maydar shelei." So how the sages explain the word that Torah said he shall write for her. What does that mean? He shall write for her. Mean everything. Ahu mibayalei. We derive from that. Biktiva mitgareshet ve'ena mitgareshet bekesef. Oh, we're not like some faith group. There are those who said, how much money you want? You want, let's say, $50,000, here are $50,000, you are divorced. There are some faith group that you said 3 times you divorce, goodbye, it's over, right? You want how many? You want 100 camels? Take 100 camels, 3 times you divorce, goodbye. Right? In Judaism we said no, you need to write a bill of divorce. You need to write a document. In our modern language, you know that in court, it's always a hearsay evidence or circumstantial evidence if you don't have a written document that sometimes you need to have it even notarized with witnesses. Mm-hmm. So in Judaism, lehavdil, we said that you need to have always some type of document that verified and validate the contract. Salka da'ata chamina. You may say, ho'il ve'itkash yetzi'ah lehavaya, because we talk about bill of divorce, that we compare it between divorce to marriage, which means we go both ways. Because ve'yatz'ah, like yatz'anit, what is yatz'ah? That she is leaving the first husband's house, now she can go ahead and marry another man, which means the Torah put together both items, which is one item is the divorced and the other item is the marriage, the new kiddushim, the new act of marriage. So you see here, because they put it in one pasuk, in one line, they make it together. Good morning. They make it together, okay? Because the Torah compare them. How? Ma havaya bekesef, av yetziah bekesef. Since in order for the husband to divorce his wife, he needs to give her something, he give her a ring. The ring, he said, Hareat mekudeshet li, you become my wife, I consecrated you, according to the Torah of Moses and Israel. So when he does that, he needs to do what? He needs to give her a valuable. You remember every time I officiate wedding, people think that it's a joke. And I make it like a joke, but I tell the witnesses in advance, it's not a joke. Remember I asked the newly groom, peel up the ring, and I said, did you bought it? Yes. You didn't inherit it she didn't give you as a gift? No. It's yours, right? Yes. Some rabbis even wants to see the receipt that he bought it. Then you call the 2 witnesses. You said, do you think that, how much you think is worth? And everybody laughed. But the truth is, it has to have show proof, and they have to have some values, which means with that ring, he basically mekadesh her, he sanctified her, he consecrated her according to the Torah of Moshe and Israel. So the same way that he needs to have a valuable, which is this ring that carry a value, so the same way apply the other way around. That when he release her or give her the bill of divorce, has to carry a monetary value and not necessarily a written contract. Kamash melan, so that's the reason why the Torah used the word vechatav la, that he needs to write a bill, physical document of bill of divorce, to make it legitimate, which means in Judaism, money it's not sufficient. You need to have the contract, the physical bill of divorce. So now, since Rabbi Yossi Aglili said that you can use anything relates to the scroll, Rabbi Yossi Aglili haisvara menale. So how do Rabbi Yossi Aglili learn that in order to divorce you need to give a shtar, a really document? Since the Torah compare both gerushin and kiddushin, divorce and marriage, the same act of manners, legitimate, the same process of litigation in both ways. Nafkala misefer kritut, because the Torah used the term of kritut. Kritut is like the same way as you have a covenant, you have that soul shall cut off. So it's the same act of bill of divorce. So good morning. So therefore, the same way that the Torah used the term, the legal term of bill of divorce that has to have a document, Sefer Kortav and Davar Acher Kortav. So in Judaism, unlike other faith group, we are not using just a monetary payment between husband and wife to express a disconnectedness in a sense of a marriage. You need to have a document, a physical document, signed document to validate this act in both relationship, in the act of divorce and the act of marriage. V'Rabanan. So now we go back to what the sages said. According to the sages, Hai Sefer Kritut Mibayale, the Torah said clearly that they need to have a bill of divorce. So what's the point? They said Davar Koret Beino Leveina, which means since the husband can put in the ketubah, in the document, that they cannot divorce any time, and therefore she will be abide by him forever, and therefore she cannot act in a sense request the divorce, and in a sense he is like sealed her forever, and that's something that we are not allowed in Judaism. So therefore we need this term in the Torah that's called bill of divorce, lich detanya. We give here a scenario. Husband give her the bill of divorce, give her the get, but by the same token he put a condition, and he said this apply only if you're not going to a nightclub and drinking wine, which means, or another example, he doesn't like her family, okay, so he said I'm giving you this, you wanted to divorce, here is a bill of divorce with the witnesses and everything, with one condition: you cannot go back to your parents' house. So they said, Le'olam ein ze kritut, which means if he put that as a part of the bill of divorce and he make it a permanent, that bill of divorce is not considering a valid. Which means, because this type of condition is not in term, so in a sense of legality, we cannot make it a permanent. So even we gave just in a sense of example of drinking wine or parents' house, it's just example that it's a condition. Why? Because the Torah used the term kritut, which means cutting. Cutting is like you're taking, for our discussion, a knife and cut. The minute you cut, it's separate, it's two entities. So since we need to make it a valid, we need to make this document unabrogated. So in that sense, it has to be permanent. Kol 30 yom, harei ze kritut. But if he said, okay, I'm giving you this get, but it has to be only for 30 days, which means for 30 days I forbid you to go to your parents' house for all kind of reasons. Just use this as an example, all right? So it means that even we don't like this term, but it can be a valid term as long as they have a term of time that they agree upon. So in that sense, it can be a valid get. Now we said, Rabbi Yosef li nafkalei mikaret kritut, because in the word karet, meaning cut off, and kritut is a longer one. So they want to tell us that this is something that cuts between the two parties, which means in order to make it a valid document, it has to be all these conditions, which is it has to be parchment, it has to be specific, it has to have all the specification of the location, has to make sure that the names match, have to make sure that all the parties involved fully recognize, fully comprehend in a sense of mental comprehensions. All these items involved with that has to be legal in order to valid and legal in order to make it permanent. ורבנן כרת כריתות לא דרשי. So he said, but the sages, they did not derive anything from the expansion of karet and kritut. They don't take it. Now we conclude with the Mishnah. The Mishnah said as follows. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So the Mishnah said, שיירה שחנתה בבקעה והקיפוה כלי בהמה. Okay, if it was a caravan camped in a valley. So you have caravan camped in a valley, and it was an open space, not enclosed by the walls, and a traveler, they said enclosed והקיפוה כלי בהמה, enclosed their camp with partition made by animal equipment. מטלטלים בתוכה, you can carry the cellar and the like, you may carry inside the enclosed area, ובלבד שלא יהיה גדר גבוה 10 טפחים, provided that the resultant partition will be fence of 10 handbreadth high, ולא יהיו פרצות יתירות הבניין, there will not be breaches in the partition greater than the bill segment. So later the Gemara elaborates on that. I'm just first reading the text. כל פרצה שהיא כ10 אמות מותרת, מפני שהיא כפתח יותר מכאן אסור. Said any breach that is approximately 10 cubits wide is permitted and does not invalidate the partition because it's considered like an entrance. However, if one of the breaches greater than 10 cubits, it is prohibited to carry anything in the enclosed area. So now we go to the details. We said as follows. Itma. פרוץ כעומד, רב פאפה אמר מותר, רב הונא ברי דרב יהושע אמר אסור. So we said that if you have the breach of the partition equal to the standing portion, so Rav Papa said it's permitted to carry that enclosure, and Rabbi Yoshua, Rav Huna, but Rabbi Yoshua said it's prohibited. Why? Now we go to details. Rav Papa אמר מותר, הכי אמר רחמנא למשה, לא תפרוץ רעובה. One of our tradition, we said that we believe that God transmitted to Moses the specifications. For example, when the Torah used the term, the Maimonides tells us, when the Torah tells us you should build a sukkah, right, in the festival of Sukkot. So how do you know the heights and the length and the specific details? So we believe that that was transmitted orally. So therefore, when you use the Rahmana, it means that Rashi said that it's like the all mercy God, merciful God, is the same as in Arabic. We said Rahmana el Rahim, which means that he's a God full of mercy. So it means that the Almighty transmitted orally to Moses. So he said, God said to Moses, Lo tifrotz ruba, you shall not breach the majority of the petition, as long as its greater part is not breached. רב הונא בן רב יהושע אמר אסור, אחרי אמר רחמנא למשה, גדור רובה. Like God said, circumscribe the greater part, which means if the greater part is not enclosed, it's not a petition. תנן ולא יהיו פרצות יתירות על הבניין כבניין מותר, that the breaches the petition greater than the build segment. So he said if the breaches equal to a build segment is permitted. So which means that this presented difficulty of Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yoshua. So he said, לא תימא הכא בניין מותר, אלא אם בניין יתר על הפרצה מותר. It's permitted only if the bill is greater than its breach, which means the only idea in the enclosed area. אבל בבניין מה אסור? So you're going to tell me that it's in a regular bill is carry prohibited, יחליטו לא פרצות כבניין קשיא. So now we say that the breach is not equal to the build, is difficulty. So Tashma, now you see the picture it will be hopefully clear to us. המקרה סוכתו בשיבוטין או הברכות המיטה, אם יש רווח ביניהם כמותן כשרה. Look at the picture. You see the picture? They said that if someone use this as the schach, so if it's a shibutim, so you see you have a space in between, so that make it a valid. Everyone see the picture? Elliot?
Yes.
Yeah. You see it? Okay. So that's one situation. They said the other one is, let's go further, they said, הכה במאי עסקינן כשנכנס ויוצא. That means that the case that he inserted and exerted easily. So they asked, why אפשר לצמצם? It's possible to be precise. אמר רבי עמי במה עדיף? רבי עמי said, the Mishnah referring a case where one adds roofing. רבא אמר הם נתונים ערב נותנו שתי, שתי נותנו ערב. If this is a picture of shti and erev, you see this? This is the shti and this is the erev. Everyone see it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it means you can use it as a schach in a situation like that. It's shti and erev, shti and erev, shti and erev. You see it? Not clear? Okay. So he said, Tashma, שיירה שנחנתה בבגיה וכפוה בגמלים והוקפות, if it was a caravan, camp in the field, and the travelers who surrounded the camp with camels, when they made to crouch down with their saddlers. So he said, just turn the page 16a, just few lines. בעביתים, בשליפים, בקנים, בקולחות, מטלטלים בתוכה, ובלבד שלא יהיה רווח בין גמל לגמל כמלוא גמל. ובין עוקף לעוקף כמלוא עוקף, ובין עבית לעבית כמלוא עבית. So he said that as long as they, with the saddler cautions, or the wheat sheaves, or the board or stalks, or one care within the provided that there is no camel length gap between one camp to another, or saddler length gap between one saddler to another, or caution length gap between one caution and another. So he said, Hachaname b'shenichaz yotzeh. These two, it's to be inserted and exerted. So it's a little bit, the breach, it's a slightly greater than the standing segment. So he said, that's the only time that we are not allowed to carry in that domain. Now let's go to a practical halachot. Okay, the first halacha I would like to share with you, it's we study in Lechi Omed Me'elav, a side post that rendered permitted carry in an alleyway, even it was not originally erected for that purpose. So, for example, if the builder, remember we talked about Florida, so we said, if it was this palm tree that was on the side of that development, and the builder, for example, make it just for beauty, this side post is not for the purpose of any other things, but just for the beauty. So he said, provided that one result to relight prior to the beginning of Shabbat, as long as on Friday it was a backup side post, so you can use it, according to Abaya, you can use it for a side post, as long as it was designated in advance. Mm-hmm. We talk also about trees, about ilanot in a sukkah. A sukkah where walls are formed by trees is valid as a sukkah. We talk about Shabbat betel or neka. If one established in Shabbat a abode in a place that's surrounded by walls that were not constructed for that purpose of creating a dwelling place, and the enclosed area is less than 10 Beit Se'ah, so we call it as a private domain. And one can carry, so it's called 4 amot, and then alpayim amah in each side. We talk also about the mount and the cavity, that the primary proof is in that sense that you can use it. And we said that the petition that stands by itself, that not originally constructed to serve as a petition, is nonetheless valid even it wasn't designated. And the next one is, we said that we ask about living creature. Can you make a living creature, like you take your horse and you use it as a side post, as a lechi? So we said that a side post can be fashioned from anything, including a living creature. However, if it is an animal, it must be securely tight in the place so that it cannot run away and crouch down below the required heights. Even a person who is tied up can be served as a side post. Next one, we talk about the Tumat Golal. Anything can become ritually impure by covering a grave. So we said it's a even animals that is tied over a grave, it transmitted the whole idea of the 7 days of impurity. And the last one, it's very important, we talk about divorce. So we said that a woman may be divorced only by means of bill of divorce, not through a transfer of money or any other means. And we said also a bill of divorce, it contains a condition that binds the woman to her husband indefinitely is not valid. One should refrain from attaching a condition that it's limited the time if it's difficult for her to fulfill it. So it's like the way that said it's like a case or a cause of the bill of divorce is make it invalid if it's retroactively and it lead to extreme halachic difficulties. We talk about a gap of partition, and we said that the gap of partition at 10 cubit height is constructed as an entrance. It's fine. And we last one for today, it's the sukkah. We said that if one roof at the sukkah with squares that was less than 4 handbreadth wide, and the gap between the square are exactly equal to the width of the sukkah is invalid. Otherwise, it's fine, you can use it. And that's basically Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 631.